shared by a user named Caleb M. on a regional forum in 2018. Caleb said that growing up near the Appalachian Mountains teaches you one thing early. The woods don't follow the same rules at night. During the day, everything makes sense. You can see the trail, hear animals, understand where you are and how to get back. But at night, it's like something else takes over. He was 17 when it happened. He and his cousin had gone out on a trail they had walked dozens of times before. It wasn't deep into the wilderness, just far enough to feel isolated, but still familiar. They had grown up around those woods. They knew every turn, every clearing, every shortcut. That's why they didn't think twice about staying a little longer. The sun dropped faster than they expected. By the time they noticed, the light was already fading into that dim blue-gray that makes everything blend together. "We should head back," his cousin said. Caleb nodded, brushing it off. They had done this before. They knew the way. They turned and started walking back along the trail. At first, everything felt normal. Then, the forest went quiet. Not gradually. Suddenly. No insects. No wind. No distant sounds. Just silence. Caleb slowed slightly. "You hear that?" he asked. His cousin didn't answer right away. Because there was nothing to hear. And that was the problem. Then they saw it. A light. Faint. Moving between the trees ahead. Caleb squinted. "Someone else out here?" he said. His cousin stared at it. "It's not moving right," he whispered. And he was right. The light didn't move like a flashlight. It didn't bounce. Didn't shift with steps. It glided. Side to side. Perfectly smooth. Like it wasn't being carried. Like it didn't have weight. They stopped walking. The light stopped too. Completely still. Hovering between the trees. The silence deepened. Caleb felt a slow, creeping unease in his chest. "Hello?" he called out. His voice sounded too loud. Too sharp. No response. The light flickered slightly. Then, it moved again. But not forward. Sideways. Sliding between the trees without touching anything. Without stepping over branches. Without making a sound. Caleb took a step back. "That's not a person," his cousin said. They turned to leave. But as soon as they did, the light appeared again. In front of them. Closer. Blocking the trail. Caleb's stomach dropped. They hadn't heard it move. Hadn't seen it cross. It was just there. Now brighter. Close enough to see its shape. It wasn't round. It wasn't steady. It pulsed unevenly. Like something inside it was shifting. Then, it pulsed. Once. The trees around them stretched slightly. Not physically, but visually. Like their depth had changed. Caleb blinked hard. Then again. The forest didn't feel right anymore. The space between the trees seemed wrong. Too narrow. Too deep. Then the light pulsed again. And for a split second, everything went completely dark. No outline. No shapes. Just nothing. Then the forest snapped back. Caleb grabbed his cousin's arm. "Run!" They ran. Branches hit their arms. Leaves cracked under their feet. But after a few seconds, Caleb realized something was wrong. The ground didn't feel like a trail anymore. Too uneven. Too thick with roots. They stopped. Breathing hard. "Where are we?" his cousin whispered. Caleb looked around. The trees were closer now. Packed tighter. Blocking any clear path. "We ran the wrong way," Caleb said. But deep down, he knew that wasn't true. Then, a glow. Behind them. They turned slowly. The light was there again. Closer than before. Not drifting anymore. Standing. And now, they could see it. Inside the light. A shape. Tall. Too tall. Its limbs looked too long for its body. Its outline bending slightly with each pulse. Like it wasn't fully stable. Caleb's breath caught. Because it wasn't holding the light. It was the source of it. The glow wasn't surrounding it. It was leaking out of it. Through it. Then, it shifted. Not stepping. Just appearing closer. Closing distance without movement. Caleb stumbled back. His cousin grabbed his arm. "Don't look at it," he said. But Caleb couldn't stop. Because the longer he looked, the more it changed. Its shape stretching. Compressing. Like it was trying different forms. Trying to settle into something recognizable. Then, it spoke. Not clearly. Not in words. But in a sound that felt like something trying to form speech. Low. Broken. Like it didn't understand how. Caleb felt something pull at his chest. Not physically, but mentally. Like the sound was reaching into him. Trying to pull something out. "Run!" his cousin shouted again. They turned and ran blindly. Pushing through branches. Slipping on roots. The forest felt endless now. No direction. No path. Just trees. And that light behind them. Always there. Always the same distance. Then, suddenly, they broke through. The trail. Right in front of them. Clear. Normal. Like it had been there the whole time. They didn't question it. They ran. All the way out. Didn't stop until they reached the road. Both of them breathing hard. Shaking. Either of them spoke. Not for a long time. Later that night, when Caleb finally asked what they had seen, his cousin didn't answer right away. He just stared toward the tree line. Then said quietly, "It wasn't chasing us." Caleb frowned. "Then what was it doing?" His cousin swallowed. "It was moving us." Caleb felt his stomach drop. Because that made more sense. The way the trail disappeared. The way the forest changed. It hadn't been following them. It had been guiding them. Somewhere. And they had barely made it out. Caleb never went back into those woods at night again. But sometimes, when he stands at the edge of his backyard, looking into the trees, he sees it. Far in the distance. That same drifting light. Moving slowly. Side to side. Like it's still searching. Still guiding. Still waiting for someone to follow. This was shared by a user named Rachel D. on a survival blog in 2020. Rachel said people always assume that if a place looks abandoned, it's safe. Empty means harmless. And used means forgotten. But in the Appalachian Mountains, some places aren't abandoned. They're just waiting. She had planned a simple solo hike. 2 days, 1 night, following a trail that wasn't too popular but still marked well enough. She liked being alone out there. It gave her space to think, to breathe, to disconnect. The first half of the day was perfect. Cool air. Clear sky. The forest alive in a quiet, comforting way. Then the weather changed. Fast. The sky darkened without warning. The wind picked up. Within minutes, the temperature dropped, and the rain came down hard, thick, heavy, relentless. Rachel tried to keep moving, but the trail turned slick almost instantly. Mud formed under her boots, roots became hazards, and visibility dropped enough that she couldn't clearly see where she was stepping. She knew she couldn't keep going like that. That's when she saw it. The cabin. Small. Old. Sitting just off the trail, half hidden between trees like it didn't want to be noticed. It looked abandoned. No lights. No smoke. The wood was worn, the roof slightly sagging. But it was shelter. Rachel didn't hesitate. She ran to it, pushed the door open, and stepped inside. The air hit her immediately. Cold. Stale. Not just unused. Unlived. The interior was simple. A table near the center. A single chair. A small bed pushed into the corner. Dust covered most surfaces. But not evenly. Rachel noticed that right away. Some areas were thick with it, others disturbed. The floor near the door had marks, faint, like something had been dragged across it recently. She paused, listened. Nothing. Just the rain pounding against the roof. She told herself it was old damage. Animals, maybe? She shut the door behind her. And that's when something felt off. The sound of the rain changed. Not outside. Inside. Like it had become muffled. Distant. As if the cabin was blocking more than just weather. Rachel shook it off. Set her bag down. Took off her jacket. And sat on the edge of the bed. Waiting for the storm to pass. Minutes went by. Then an hour. The rain didn't stop. The light outside faded completely. Darkness settled in. Rachel decided she had no choice. She would stay the night. She didn't like it. But it was safer than hiking blind in a storm. She pulled out her flashlight. Set it beside her. And lay back on the bed. That's when she heard it. A sound. Soft. Inside the cabin. Not outside. Not the rain. Something else. A shift. Like weight moving across wood. Rachel sat up immediately. Her eyes scanned the room. Everything looked the same. Still. Silent. "Hello?" she called. No answer. The silence returned. But it felt different now. Tighter. Like something was holding it in place. She stayed still for a while. Then slowly lay back down, trying to convince herself it was nothing. Then, the chair moved. A slow scrape across the floor. Rachel's heart started pounding. She sat up again. The chair was closer now, facing her directly. She was sure it hadn't been like that before. She hadn't touched it. The air in the cabin felt heavier, harder to breathe. Rachel stood up slowly. "Is someone here?" she asked. Her voice sounded smaller than she expected. Then, a voice answered. Behind her. "Just staying the night." Rachel spun around. No one there. Nothing behind her. But the voice. It had been right next to her ear. Close enough to feel. Her chest tightened. She grabbed her bag. Moved toward the door. Her hand reached for the handle. And stopped. Because she noticed something she hadn't before. There was no lock. No latch. Nothing to secure it. Just wood. And as she stared at it, the door moved. Slowly. Opening on its own. Just a crack. The rain outside hadn't changed. The wind hadn't pushed it. It had moved. On its own. Rachel stepped back. The opening widened slightly. And from the darkness outside, a voice came again. Same voice. Same tone. Already inside. Rachel's chest tightened. Because that didn't make sense. She turned slowly back toward the cabin. And that's when she realized something worse. The room didn't look the same anymore. The bed was closer to the door. The table, slightly off from where it had been. The chair, gone. Rachel's breathing became uneven. Because the space itself felt wrong. Like it had shifted. Like the cabin had rearranged itself. Then, a sound. Behind her again. Closer this time. A slow inhale. Rachel didn't turn. Didn't want to see. Because now she understood something. She hadn't been alone when she entered. She had just interrupted something. The voice came again. Softer now. Almost patient. "You can stay." Rachel ran. She shoved the door open and bolted into the rain. Branches scratched her arms. Mud pulled at her feet. But she didn't stop. Didn't look back. Didn't slow down. Eventually, she found the trail again. Somehow. And by morning, she made it out. Safe. Or at least, away. But before she left that place, she made a mistake. She looked back. Just once. The cabin stood there. Still. Silent. Like nothing had happened. Then, The door opened, slowly, and in the doorway, she saw it. A figure, standing where she had been, perfectly still, watching her, and for a split second, it raised its hand, not waving, not reaching, just mimicking her, like it was remembering her. Rachel never went back. But sometimes, when she closes her eyes at night, she still hears it. That voice. Soft. Right behind her. You can stay.